Welcome, everybody. Nathan here. Just want to take a quick minute to talk to you about what I believe could be the beginning of the end for GameStop as we currently know it. Now, I'm not going to be a doomsayer and say that GameStop is going to go under in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, but it does seem highly likely that this is the beginning of what possibly could be the end of how we see GameStop right now in its current form as brick and mortar stores that sell video games with a little bit of pop culture figures. On the Tuesday, August 1st, 2017, they released a statement that said that they will now be opening on Thanksgiving. Now, that might not seem like a big deal, but for the past couple years, they were closed on Thanksgiving and then opened at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Black Friday to give their customers a lot of time to shop because obviously they were closed the day before. Now, I personally have worked at GameStop. I was there in 2008 and I worked there until about October of 2011. So I was there for about 3 years. During my time there, I did work Thanksgiving. Now, we were only open till I believe 5 o'clock. I'm sure somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. That's fine. I believe it was 5, possibly 6 at the very latest. But we were also opening at 5 a.m. the next day. And yes, there were days where I think it was one year where I worked close and then had to get up that next morning at like 4:30 in the morning to be at work because we had a store meeting that morning before we even opened, so you had to be there super duper early. You were allowed to clock in at least, but you were still there early and had a ton of coffee, energy drinks, whatever, to get you through that 8-hour shift starting at 5 in the morning. This does not bode well for GameStop. It's something that makes any business successful is when the employees are happy. Now, when I was at GameStop, I was going through college, and I kind of needed a job just on the side, 16, 20 hours a week, something like that, just to get me some gas money, a little bit of extra spending money, and I usually I enjoyed the job. The pay wasn't great, but I was promoted at one time to a key holder, kind of like a manager position-ish, if you want to call it that. And I was given, somewhat substantial pay raise and stuff like that, so it wasn't too bad. And I generally liked it for the majority of the time that I was there. Before I got there, they used to do commission, and unfortunately, when I joined the crew, they had stopped doing that. The commission was when they were EB Games. EB Games used to do commission, and then GameStop bought EB Games and got rid of that whole thing. So obviously people made a lot less money. And that did not make people happy. And they used to be salary at EB Games. And they switched them over to hourly, so they got even less money. So that's one thing that I don't think helped anybody at GameStop out at the time. And now they're making them work on Thanksgiving. So I believe from 2014 to 2016, they did not make employees work on Thanksgiving. I have a statement here that was given on October 12th of 2015 by Mike Buskey, the executive vice president at the time. And he says, quote, "We believe strongly that our customers and associates should have the opportunity to spend the Thanksgiving holiday relaxing with family and friends and not worrying with the stress of where to find the best shopping deals. We know this is in stark contrast to what many other retailers are doing, but we are taking a stance to protect family time during this important holiday." He also went on to say that they could do the shopping online, basically. Oh, sorry. My cat's playing at the door. I don't know why. Anyway. Hi, cat. Really, Meeks? Really, bud? Okay. Anyway. With making them work on the holiday, I worked a job before where I worked on the holiday every single holiday. I enjoyed the job, but the problem is that a few of us would have to work all the holidays and nobody else did at the company. And that was kind of a pain in the butt, and I wasn't really happy, and then I eventually left. And while that's not the exact same thing that's happening in GameStop, there's a very good chance that a lot of people are going to leave, and you probably should. Not just the fact that they are making work on the holiday now, that they previously gave you off, but they have closed about 10% of their U.S. locations just this year, since late March. It was reported in late March they had about 4,400 stores in the United States alone, and now they're reporting that they have just under 4,000. That's not good. It's also been reported on the 1st that their stock this year is down 15%. So things are really not looking good for them. And with this kind of knee-jerk reaction, this is kind of what happened at Circuit City, from what I understand, is that they had a knee-jerk reaction, everything went to shit, and then eventually they closed. And it's looking more and more like something very similar is going to happen with GameStop. The profits are down. They apparently are blaming the console generations for not having any new iterations, although the Xbox One X is coming out a little bit later on this year, so maybe that'll help boost their sales a little bit. I don't know why they're bitching about new consoles, because they make a lot of their sales from used games in the first place, not the actual consoles. Consoles they don't make a ton of money on anyway. I don't know the exact number, but I know they don't make a lot. And same with new games. I know they make like maybe a couple bucks, like pennies on the dollar on new games. So I'm not sure why that they're bitching about new consoles not coming out. If you work at GameStop, I would highly recommend looking elsewhere for a job. I'm not saying leave right now. Don't ever do that, ever. Don't ever leave your current job unless you have something else lined up. That is a terrible idea, and it's not going to work well for you. But I would strongly recommend to possibly be open to working somewhere else. Just because it's looking like they value their employees less and less each year. A lot of the stores around here, where I live, are pretty good for the most part. There are some employees where I would prefer not to run into, and unfortunately they usually are working, so I usually just don't go in that particular store. But for the most part, they're pretty good. So this is a warning to you, if you're listening. If anybody else out there knows any friends, or if you personally work at GameStop, I really would strongly recommend, in my personal educated opinion, to possibly be open to looking at another job somewhere else. I know for a fact that GameStop doesn't really pay that well to begin with. They don't have a commission structure, so even though you are pretty much scored on your metrics, you don't get any really sort of reward personally for it. They are doing the Prestige program, where if any store in certain districts meets certain metric goals, or is the best store or whatever, they get certain deals, monthly deals and promotions that are going on, which is cool. The problem is it doesn't help out the individual employee. Again, it just helps out GameStop. GameStop can say, oh, look, we got you these new name tags and you get this new deal and stuff, but it doesn't help out the employees. There's no bonus for them. There's no, hey, great job. It's just like, yay, go GameStop. You employees are the ones that are actually doing all this hard work and busting your tails, but yeah, go GameStop. GameStop's awesome. So, I promise I'm not bitter about leaving there. That was the best thing I probably ever did in my life, is leave GameStop. There's plenty of better options out there if you want to work in retail, or if you just want to get another job in general. There's a lot better ones that pay more, and you'll most likely be more appreciated at. But yeah, I would definitely say that GameStop looks like it's going downhill. We'll see. I'm very curious to see how reports out of GameStop from employees are. I haven't spoken to anybody I know personally from GameStop about this. I would like to in the next couple days, but we'll see. Thank you guys all so much for listening. If you are interested in hearing more content from us, we are on Facebook, YouTube, VidMe, and we have our own website, goldenagegamers.com, and you can also send us an email at officialgoldenagegamers@gmail.com. Thanks, guys, so much. This has been Nathan signing off. Bye.